Hey folks, good morning. Robert Quigley here, May 31st, Washington, D.C., America's Independent. We are headed to the White House. Today, folks, is a great time to be down on the Mall in Washington, D.C. In fact, it's one of the best times of the year to be down on the Mall in Washington, D.C. Folks from all over the country, all over the world, are here to enjoy the beautiful wading pool off to my left, the Lincoln Memorial off to my right. The weather is nice, there's a slight breeze in the air, but this is where you want to be if we are in Washington, D.C. today. Now folks, today's video, we're going to cover a couple of quick points, and the first issue we're going to talk about is where in the world did the Republicans go wrong? We heard today that Chris Christie is going to throw his hat in for the Republican nomination next week. But there is so much wrong with the Republican Party, and we're going to have a little bit of fun today pointing out the obvious and enjoying the nice weather along the way. So here we go. Behind me you'll see the Lincoln Memorial. President Lincoln was the first Republican president, and he had a seriously admirable, strong value system when he came to the White House. And I got to tell you folks, he was looking after the rights of all Americans. He wanted to unite this country and bring us all together so it would work for everybody. This is a very different philosophy than what we have today with the Republicans. So let's run through the list. We all know today that the Republican Party has turned into the party of a few wealthy people. Trickle-down economics does not work. A winner-take-all economy is not where the country is today. It never worked. The Republicans convinced Americans that it would work in the 80s and long before. It's a disaster. We're living in a time in history where we have to take care of all Americans. And President Lincoln, the man who we remember with the monument behind us, he wants every American to succeed. That was the essence of his presidency. He did not believe one group of Americans should dominate another group of Americans. He wanted to see prosperity, equality, justice, and fairness across the board. But what we have today with the Republican parties, we have a tainted brand. Let's look at who they put up recently. Donald Trump is anything but an honorable man. Donald Trump is a guy who seeks kingship in the American democracy. He had 4 years. He was able to accomplish almost nothing with those 4 years. On top of that, we see recently candidates like Nikki Haley or Vivek from California, too young, by the way, by decades. We see Rick Scott, another guy who is not in the hearts and minds of the vast majority of Americans. We see recently Chris Christie from New Jersey throwing his hat in the ring. He was rejected in 2012. He was rejected again in 2016. What we see, folks, is a Republican Party that is trying very, very hard to throw up a popular candidate. And what they have failed to realize is they are not on the same page with the American voter. The Republican right-wing philosophy is dying if it's not already dead. We're at a place in history where Abraham Lincoln would easily say, folks, we have to make America work for everybody. The wealthy elite, the rich corporations, the winner take all, the screw thy neighbor as long as I'm okay, everybody else can go to hell mentality does not work anymore. So there you have it, folks. I'm rambling on here, but I just want to point out the difference between what Abraham Lincoln really stood for and what the Republican Party stands for today. The Republicans have become a bankrupt brand without substance or heart, and their entire philosophical framework must be swept into the dustbin of history. Quigley, America's Independent. We are taking the country in a new direction. We're going to make it work for everybody. We're going to solve lots of big problems. And there you have it, folks. That's what I have to say. Let's remember Abraham Lincoln and his desire to make America work for everybody.